The morning sun filtered through the sheer curtains of the small apartment, casting golden streaks across the hardwood floor. Maya Chen stirred in bed, feeling the warmth of another body beside her. For a moment, she forgot what day it was, until the realization hit her like a bolt of lightning. Graduation day. She sat up carefully, trying not to wake Alex, who was still sleeping peacefully next to her. Alex's auburn hair was spread across the pillow, and her breathing was steady and calm. Maya allowed herself a few precious seconds to watch her girlfriend sleep, knowing that in just a few hours, everything might change. The apartment they shared was modest, a one-bedroom place in downtown Seattle, with exposed brick walls and large windows that overlooked Pike Street. Maya had fallen in love with it the moment she saw it 6 months ago. More importantly, Alex had fallen in love with it too. They'd signed the lease together, splitting the rent down the middle, and slowly made it their own with thrift store furniture. Plants that somehow managed to survive despite their busy college schedules, and photographs from their 2 years together. But her parents didn't know any of this existed. Maya slipped out of bed and padded to the kitchen, her bare feet cold against the tile floor. The coffee maker gurgled to life as she pressed the button, and the familiar sound brought her a small measure of comfort. Through the kitchen window, she could see the Space Needle in the distance, partially obscured by the morning mist that was so characteristic of Seattle. Her phone buzzed on the counter. A text from her mother. "Can't wait to see our graduate today. Dad and I are so proud. We'll be at the hotel by 10 a.m. Love you, sweetheart." Maya's stomach twisted into knots. Her parents, David and Linda Chen, were driving up from Portland this morning. They'd booked a room at the Fairmont Olympic Hotel downtown, the same hotel where they'd stayed when they first visited her at the University of Washington 4 years ago. Back then, Maya had been a nervous freshman, living in the dorms, calling home every few days, and carefully avoiding any mention of her growing attraction to women. Now, she was about to graduate with a degree in environmental engineering, summa cum laude, and she was living with the woman she loved. But her parents still thought she was the same girl who dated Tommy Martinez in high school and who lived alone in a studio apartment near campus. "Morning, beautiful." Alex's voice came from behind her, husky with sleep. Maya turned around to find Alex leaning against the doorframe, wearing one of Maya's oversized University of Washington t-shirts. Even first thing in the morning, with her hair messy and no makeup on, Alex was stunning. They'd met in their sophomore year during a protest against the university's investment in fossil fuel companies. Alex had been holding a sign that read, "There is no Planet B." And when their eyes met across the crowd, Maya felt something shift inside her chest. "Good morning," Maya said, forcing a smile. "Coffee's almost ready." Alex walked over and wrapped her arms around Maya from behind, pressing a kiss to her neck. "Big day today. How are you feeling?" Maya leaned into the embrace, drawing strength from Alex's presence. "Terrified," she admitted. "About graduation? You've been working toward this for 4 years. You're going to walk across that stage and—" "Not about graduation," Maya interrupted, turning in Alex's arms. "About my parents. They'll be here in a few hours and I still haven't told them about us. About this." She gestured around their shared apartment. Alex's expression softened with understanding. They'd had this conversation before, many times in fact. Alex had been patient, never pushing, always supporting Maya's decision to wait for the right moment to come out to her conservative Chinese-American parents. But as the months passed, the weight of the secret had grown heavier. "Maya, you don't have to tell them today if you're not ready," Alex said gently. "I think that can be arranged," Maya said, grinning. As they finished dinner, the conversation flowed more naturally than it had all day. David asked Alex about her work with LGBTQ+ youth, genuinely interested in understanding the challenges facing that community. Linda wanted to know about their daily life together, who cooked, who cleaned, how they decorated their space. Maya's actually become quite the gardener, Alex said, earning a surprised look from Maya's parents. We have a little herb garden on our fire escape, and she's managed to keep basil alive for 3 months running. That's impressive, Linda laughed. Maya killed a cactus in high school. I was going through a phase, Maya protested, but she was smiling. When the check came, David insisted on paying despite Alex's polite attempts to contribute. This is a celebration, he said firmly. And besides, I have a feeling we'll be seeing a lot more of you, Alex. You can get the next one. As they walked out of the restaurant into the cool Seattle evening, Maya felt like she was seeing the city with new eyes. The Space Needle glowed against the dark sky, and the sounds of downtown Friday night hummed around them. But everything felt different now. Lighter, more honest, more real. Would you like to see the apartment now? Maya asked as they reached the hotel. It's getting late, Linda said, checking her watch. What if we come by tomorrow morning before we drive back to Portland? We could take you both to brunch. We'd love that, Alex said, and Maya heard the genuine warmth in her voice. David turned to Alex and somewhat awkwardly pulled her into a brief hug. Thank you for taking care of our daughter, he said quietly. Thank you for raising such an incredible woman, Alex replied, and Maya saw her father's face soften with emotion. Linda hugged them both, holding on a little longer than usual. I'm so proud of you, Maya, not just for graduating, but for trusting us with your truth. As Maya and Alex walked back to their apartment hand in hand, Maya felt like she was floating. The weight she'd been carrying for so long was finally gone. That went better than I ever could have imagined, Maya said as they climbed the stairs to their third-floor apartment. Your parents are wonderful, Alex said, unlocking their door. I can see where you get your strength in your heart. Inside, their apartment, their real apartment, the one Maya's parents would see tomorrow. Everything looked exactly as they'd left it that morning. The coffee cups were still in the sink. The Sunday crossword was half finished on the kitchen table, and Alex's sweater was draped over the back of the couch. Maya looked around at the life they'd built together, and for the first time, she could imagine her parents being part of it. I love you, she said, turning to Alex and pulling her close. I love you too, Alex replied, kissing her softly. I'm so proud of you for being brave today. We were both brave, Maya said. And tomorrow, when my parents come over, we get to be ourselves completely. No more secrets, no more lies. As they got ready for bed in the bathroom they shared, brushing their teeth side by side like they had hundreds of times before, Maya caught sight of their reflection in the mirror. They looked like what they were, a couple in love, building a life together, facing the future as partners. And for the first time in months, Maya wasn't afraid of what that future might hold. Later, as they lay in bed with Maya's head on Alex's shoulder, Maya thought about the journey that had led them to this moment. 2 years ago, she'd been a closeted college student terrified of disappointing her parents. Tonight, she was a college graduate with a bright future ahead of her, and her parents knew and accepted the woman she loved. Alex? Maya whispered in the darkness. I'm going to take the Seattle job. She felt Alex's smile against the top of her head. Yeah? Yeah. This is where I belong. Where we belong. I was hoping you'd say that, Alex murmured sleepily. As Maya drifted off to sleep, she thought about tomorrow. Her parents would come to their apartment, see their shared closet, and their photos on the refrigerator and the life they'd built together. There would probably be more conversations, more adjustments, more moments of awkwardness as everyone figured out this new dynamic. But tonight, for the first time in 2 years, Maya Chen was exactly who she was supposed to be, with everyone she loved knowing the truth. And that, she realized, was the best graduation gift she could have asked for. The morning sun would rise on a new chapter of her life, one where she didn't have to choose between her family and her love, because now she could have both. And in the quiet of their shared bedroom, surrounded by the life they'd created together, Maya finally felt complete. "'Tis your graduation day. It should be about celebrating your achievements." "But how much longer can I keep this up?" Maya asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "They think I live alone. They think I'm still dating men. Every conversation we have is built on lies." The coffee maker beeped, signaling that it was ready. Alex reached over and poured 2 cups, adding cream to Maya's just the way she liked it. This small gesture, knowing exactly how Maya preferred her coffee after hundreds of mornings together, somehow made everything feel both more real and more impossible. "What if they hate me?" Maya asked, accepting the warm mug gratefully. "They won't hate you," Alex said firmly. "They love you, and eventually, they'll see how happy we are together." Maya wanted to believe that, but she knew her parents. David Chen was a successful accountant who valued tradition and stability above all else. Linda was a high school math teacher who went to church every Sunday and still asked Maya about nice young men during their phone calls. They were good people, but they were also products of their generation and their culture. The idea of their daughter being in a same-sex relationship, living in sin before marriage, had never entered their realm of possibility. "I need to shower and get ready," Maya said, checking the time on her phone. "The ceremony starts at 2, and I promised I'd meet them for lunch at noon." As she headed toward the bathroom, Alex caught her hand. "Hey," she said, pulling Maya back for a proper kiss. "Whatever happens today, I love you, and I'm proud of you, not just for graduating, but for being brave enough to live your truth, even when it's scary." Maya felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes. "I love you too." But as she stood under the hot spray of the shower 20 minutes later, Maya couldn't shake the feeling that this perfect morning was the calm before a storm she wasn't prepared to weather. The Fairmont Olympic Hotel's Georgian room buzzed with the quiet elegance that only comes with old money and established tradition. Crystal chandeliers cast warm light over pristine white tablecloths, and the soft murmur of conversation mixed with the gentle clinking of silverware against fine china. Maya sat across from her parents, trying to appear relaxed while her heart hammered against her ribs. "You look thin, sweetheart," her mother said, reaching across the table to touch Maya's hand. Linda Chen was a petite woman in her early 50s, with perfectly styled black hair and the kind of understated jewelry that spoke of comfortable middle-class success. "Are you eating enough? Living alone can make it difficult to cook proper meals." Maya nearly choked on her water. If only her mother knew that Alex was actually an excellent cook, and that their refrigerator was currently stocked with homemade pasta sauce, fresh vegetables from the Pike Place market, and the ingredients for the celebration dinner they'd planned for tonight. "I'm eating fine, Mom," Maya managed. "Just nervous. About graduation, I guess." Her father, David, looked up from his menu with the kind of pride that made Maya's chest ache with guilt. He was a tall, distinguished man who still looked every inch the successful businessman, despite being dressed casually in khakis and a polo shirt. "Nervous? Our daughter, who graduated summa cum laude, who already has a job offer from that environmental consulting firm?" 3 job offers, actually, Maya corrected, and immediately regretted it when she saw her parents exchange a look of pure joy. 3? Linda gasped. "Maya, that's incredible. Which one are you thinking of taking?" This was dangerous territory. 2 of the offers were local, one in Seattle, one in nearby Bellevue. The third was in San Diego, and Maya knew her parents were hoping she'd choose that one. Not because it was necessarily the better opportunity, but because it was closer to home, closer to the life they envisioned for her. "I'm still deciding," Maya said carefully. "The Seattle offer is really interesting. They focus on sustainable urban development, which is exactly what I want to do." "Seattle's so far from home," David said, his brow furrowing slightly. "And the cost of living is astronomical. That San Diego position would let you save money, maybe even buy a house in a few years. Maya nodded and made non-committal sounds, but her mind was racing. How could she explain that Seattle wasn't just about the job? That she'd built a life here, found love here, created a home here, that the idea of leaving felt like tearing herself in half? Speaking of which, Linda said, leaning forward conspiratorially, Mrs. Patterson mentioned that her son Michael just got a job at a tech company in San Diego. He's single, very nice looking, and he's always had such a crush on you. Maya's stomach dropped. Michael Patterson had indeed had a crush on her in high school, but it had been entirely one-sided and mostly annoying. The idea that her mother was already mentally setting up potential dates made her want to scream. Mom, I'm not really thinking about dating right now, Maya said, hoping her voice sounded casual. I'm focused on my career. Of course, Linda said quickly. But you can't work all the time. You're 22 years old. These are the years when you should be meeting someone special, starting to think about your future. I am thinking about my future, Maya said, and there was more edge in her voice than she'd intended. David noticed the tension and smoothly changed the subject. Tell us about your thesis project, the water treatment thing. Maya felt a wave of relief as she launched into a description of her senior capstone project, a sustainable water filtration system designed for small communities. This was safe ground, familiar territory where she could be completely honest. As she spoke, she could see the pride in her parents' faces, and it made the deception feel even worse. Her phone buzzed with a text message. Without thinking, she glanced at it and smiled when she saw Alex's name. How's lunch going? Remember to breathe. You've got this. Who's that? Linda asked, noticing Maya's expression. Just a friend, Maya said quickly, sliding her phone into her purse. Wishing me luck for today. That's nice. It's good that you have friends looking out for you, Linda said. Is it someone we know? From home? No, someone from school, Maya replied, hating how easily the half-truths came now. The waiter arrived to take their orders, providing another brief respite from the questioning. Maya ordered the salmon, barely tasting the words as she spoke them. Her parents continued to chat about relatives and neighbors from Portland, filling her in on gossip and news from home. Oh, and you'll never guess, Linda said as they waited for their food. The Hernandez family. You remember Sophia from your high school? She just got married to that boy she was dating, and they're expecting their first baby. Can you imagine? We're all getting so old. Maya nodded and smiled in what she hoped were the right places. But inside, she was screaming. Every conversation, like this, felt like a reminder of the life her parents expected her to live. The traditional path of college, career, marriage, children, all in neat, socially acceptable order. I was thinking, David said as their entrees arrived. After graduation, you should come home for a few weeks before you start work. Your mother's been planning to redecorate your room, and we could help you apartment hunt in San Diego if that's the direction you're leaning. Actually, I need to stay in Seattle for a while, Maya said quickly. There are some things I need to take care of here first. What kind of things? Linda asked. Maya's mind went blank. What could she possibly say? That she needed to figure out how to tell them about Alex? That she needed to decide whether to uproot the life she'd built here? That she needed time to gather the courage to disappoint them? Just apartment stuff. Getting my deposit back, that kind of thing, she said lamely. David nodded approvingly. Good thinking. Make sure you document any damage when you move out. Landlords will try to keep your deposit for anything. Maya almost laughed at the irony. Her parents were giving her advice about moving out of an apartment she'd never actually lived in alone. As lunch continued, Maya found herself studying her parents' faces, trying to memorize them as they were now. Proud, happy, completely unaware that their daughter was living a life they couldn't even imagine. In a few hours, she would walk across that graduation stage, and everything would still be perfect in their eyes. But Maya knew that this borrowed time was running out. The weight of the secret was becoming unbearable, and sooner or later, the truth would have to come out. The only question was whether she would be brave enough to tell it herself. The University of Washington's Husky Stadium was transformed for graduation day. Purple and gold banners fluttered in the afternoon breeze, and thousands of folding chairs were arranged in perfect rows on the field. The iconic Mount Rainier provided a majestic backdrop, though it was partially hidden by the gray clouds that threatened rain, typical Seattle weather that somehow seemed appropriate for such a momentous day. Maya stood in the staging area with her fellow engineering graduates, her cap and gown feeling simultaneously too big and too small. The purple fabric rippled in the wind, and she clutched her diploma cover tightly, using it as an anchor against the anxiety churning in her stomach. Maya Chen. She turned to see Jessica Rodriguez approaching, another environmental engineering graduate, whom Maya knew from several shared classes. Jessica was beaming, her dark hair perfectly curled beneath her graduation cap. "Can you believe we actually made it?" Jessica asked, adjusting her honor cords. 4 years of thermodynamics and fluid mechanics, and we're still standing. Barely. Maya laughed, but it felt forced. She kept scanning the crowd in the stands, looking for her parents. She'd left them at the hotel an hour ago, telling them she needed to arrive early for the processional. "Are your parents here?" Jessica asked. "Yeah, they drove up from Portland this morning," Maya replied. "What about yours?" "My whole family's here. My grandmother flew in from Mexico. She's never seen anyone graduate from college before." Jessica's eyes sparkled with tears of joy. "My mom's been crying all morning." Maya felt a pang of something. Envy, maybe, or grief for the uncomplicated celebration Jessica was experiencing. "That's beautiful," she said, and meant it. "Oh, there's my boyfriend." Jessica waved toward the stands. "He's sitting with my family. Are you meeting someone after the ceremony?" The question was innocent enough, but it hit Maya like a physical blow. "Just my parents," she managed. As Jessica walked away to join her boyfriend, Maya felt the familiar weight of her double life settling on her shoulders. Somewhere in those stands, Alex was sitting alone, watching the woman she loved. Graduate without being able to celebrate openly. Maya had bought Alex a ticket, but they'd agreed it was safer for Alex to sit separately from Maya's parents. The thought of Alex sitting by herself, unable to share in this moment properly, made Maya's chest tight with guilt and sadness. "Engineering. Graduates, please line up alphabetically by last name," came the announcement over the loudspeaker. Maya found her place in line between Robert Chang and David Coleman, both of whom she recognized but didn't know well. The processional music began, pomp and circumstance, and despite everything, Maya felt a thrill of accomplishment. She'd worked incredibly hard for this moment. As they began walking toward the stadium field, Maya's eyes swept the stands. There, 5 rows up on the left side, she spotted her parents. Her father was holding up his phone, undoubtedly recording everything, while her mother was dabbing at her eyes with a tissue. The sight of them made Maya's heart swell and break simultaneously. And then, 3 sections over, she saw Alex. Her girlfriend was wearing a navy blue dress Maya had never seen before, and her hair was pulled back in an elegant updo. Alex caught Maya's eye and smiled, pressing her hand to her heart in a gesture that Maya recognized, their private way of saying, "I love you," when they couldn't speak the words aloud. The ceremony proceeded with all the expected pomp of a major university graduation. The university president spoke about challenges and opportunities. A local tech CEO delivered the keynote address about innovation and social responsibility. Maya heard the words, but they seemed to float past her like clouds. When they finally began calling names for the engineering school, Maya's anxiety spiked. She was close. Chen would be soon. Robert Chang, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering, magna cum laude. Maya's hands were sweating as she watched Robert, walk across the stage, shake hands with the dean, and pose for the official photo. Maya Chen, Bachelor of Science in Environmental Engineering, summa cum laude. The sound of her name echoing through the stadium was surreal. Maya walked across the stage on unsteady legs, her eyes finding her parents in the crowd. Her father was standing up, clapping enthusiastically, while her mother was openly crying with joy. She shook the dean's hand and accepted her diploma cover, posing for the photo with what she hoped was a genuine smile. As she walked back to her seat, she caught sight of Alex again, who was clapping and beaming with pride. After the ceremony, the real challenge began. Maya made her way through the crowd of graduates and families, her heart racing as she approached her parents. David reached her first, pulling her into a tight hug. "We're so proud of you, sweetheart," he said, his voice thick with emotion. Linda was next, holding Maya so tightly she could barely breathe. "My brilliant daughter," she whispered. "I can't believe my baby has graduated from college. Let me get a picture," David said, pulling out his phone again. "Maya, stand next to your mother." Perfect. As they posed for what felt like hundreds of photos, Maya kept catching glimpses of Alex lingering nearby, waiting. Maya knew Alex wanted to congratulate her, to be part of this moment, but they'd agreed it was too risky. "Who should we thank?" Linda asked suddenly. "What do you mean?" Maya replied, confused. "For dinner. Where should we take you to celebrate?" "Somewhere special. Our daughter only graduates from college once." Maya's mind raced. She and Alex had planned to celebrate at their favorite small restaurant, a quiet Italian place where they'd had their first official date. But now... "Actually, I was thinking we could keep it simple," Maya said. "Maybe just room service at the hotel? It's been such a long day." "Nonsense," David said. "We're taking you somewhere nice. What about that steakhouse we saw downtown? Or that seafood place, with the view of the water?" As her parents debated restaurant options, Maya noticed Alex approaching hesitantly. Her girlfriend's expression was carefully neutral, but Maya could see the question in her eyes. "Maya?" Alex said softly. Maya's parents turned, and Maya felt the world shift slightly on its axis. This was the moment she'd been dreading and anticipating for months. "Mom, Dad," Maya said, her voice sounding strange to her own ears. "This is Alex. She's my friend from school." Alex stepped forward and extended her hand with a warm smile. "Mr. and Mrs. Chen, it's so nice to finally meet you. Maya talks about you all the time." "It's wonderful to meet you, dear," Linda said, shaking Alex's hand. Maya watched her mother take in Alex's appearance, the elegant dress, the confident posture, the way Alex's eyes seemed to light up when she looked at Maya. "Are you in environmental engineering too?" David asked politely. "No, I'm in social work," Alex replied. "But Maya and I have been close friends for a while now. She's helped me understand so much about environmental justice issues." The word close hung in the air with just a hint of extra weight, and Maya saw something flicker in her mother's eyes. Not suspicion exactly, but awareness. "Well, any friend of Maya's is welcome to join us for dinner," Linda said, and Maya's heart stopped. "Oh, that's very kind," Alex said quickly. "But I don't want to intrude on family time." "It's no intrusion at all," David insisted. "Maya's been working so hard she probably doesn't get to see her friends enough. You should come celebrate with us." Maya looked back and forth between her parents and Alex, feeling like she was watching a slow-motion car crash. This wasn't how she'd planned for them to meet. She wasn't ready. But Alex was looking at her with those steady green eyes, and Maya realized that maybe she never would be ready. Maybe the only way through this was to take the leap. That would be nice, Maya heard herself say. And with those words, she set in motion events that would change everything. The Metropolitan Grill was exactly the kind of upscale steakhouse David Chen appreciated. Dark wood paneling, crisp white tablecloths, and the quiet efficiency of experienced servers. Maya sat between her parents and Alex at a table by the window, watching the Seattle skyline light up as evening fell over the city. The conversation had been flowing surprisingly smoothly for the past hour. Alex, Maya had to admit, was handling the situation with remarkable grace. She was charming without being overly familiar, intelligent without seeming to show off, and most importantly, she was treating Maya exactly as a good friend would. No lingering touches, no meaningful glances, nothing that would raise suspicions. "So, Alex," Linda said as they waited for their entrees, "what kind of work do you want to do with your social work degree?" Alex set down her wine glass. They'd ordered a bottle of champagne to celebrate, and the alcohol was helping to ease some of Maya's nerves. "I'm really interested in LGBTQ+ youth services," Alex said. "There's such a need for supportive resources, especially for young people who might not have accepting families." Maya felt her stomach clench at the topic, but her parents seemed genuinely interested. "That's important work," David said thoughtfully. "I imagine it can be challenging, though. Are the families usually the biggest obstacle?" "Often, yes," Alex replied. "Many parents struggle when their child comes out. They love their kids, but they have their own fears and preconceptions to work through. The key is usually helping everyone communicate openly and honestly." Maya nearly choked on her champagne. Alex's eyes met hers for just a moment, and Maya saw the slightest hint of an encouraging smile. "Maya mentioned you two met at a protest?" Linda asked. "A rally for environmental justice," Alex confirmed. "Your daughter was giving a speech about water rights for Indigenous communities. She was incredibly passionate and articulate. I knew right away I wanted to get to know her better." Maya remembered that day perfectly. Alex had approached her afterward, complimenting her speech, and they'd ended up talking for 3 hours over coffee. It had been the beginning of everything. "That sounds like our Maya," David said proudly. "She's always been passionate about causes she believes in, sometimes too passionate. She used to come home from school with detention slips for arguing with her history teachers about environmental policy." "Dad," Maya protested, embarrassed. "It's true," Linda laughed. "Remember in 10th grade when you organized that protest against the school's lunch waste? The principal called us because you'd convinced half the cafeteria to compost their food." "Scraps in the courtyard," Alex grinned. "I would have loved to see that." As her parents shared more embarrassing childhood stories, Maya found herself relaxing slightly. This felt almost normal, a graduate celebrating with her parents and her friend. If only it were that simple. Their meals arrived. David had ordered the ribeye, Linda the salmon, Maya the filet mignon, and Alex the vegetarian pasta, which earned her an approving nod from environmentally conscious Maya. The conversation turned to Maya's job offers, and Alex listened with genuine interest as Maya described the different opportunities. "The Seattle position sounds perfect for you," Alex said. "You've always talked about wanting to work on urban sustainability projects." "You really think Maya should stay in Seattle?" Linda asked, and there was something in her tone that made Maya look up sharply. "I think Maya should do whatever makes her happy," Alex replied diplomatically. "But she's built such a strong network here, and the Pacific Northwest is really leading the way in environmental innovation." "What about you?" David asked Alex. "Do you have job prospects in Seattle?" "Actually, yes," Alex said. "I've been offered a position with a nonprofit that works with homeless youth. It's exactly the kind of work I want to do." Maya felt a surge of pride hearing Alex talk about her career goals, followed immediately by a pang of sadness. They'd celebrated Alex's job offer together 2 weeks ago, making love in their bed afterward and talking about their future in Seattle. But her parents didn't know any of that existed. "It sounds like you girls have really figured out your lives," Linda said. And there was something in the way she said girls that made Maya's nerves spike again. "We've been lucky to have each other for support," Alex said carefully. "It's nice having a friend who understands your goals and challenges." Mia excused herself to go to the restroom, needing a moment to breathe. As she stood at the sink, Staring at herself in the mirror, she tried to process what was happening. The dinner was going well, too well maybe. Her parents liked Alex, which should have been a relief, but it also made the deception feel heavier, somehow. When she returned to the table, she found her parents deep in conversation with Alex about social issues. Maya caught the tail end of something about marriage equality. "My generation is still learning," Linda was saying. "But I think it's beautiful when people find love, regardless of what form it takes." Maya nearly tripped over her own feet. Her mother had never expressed such progressive views before. "I agree completely," Alex said. "Love is love, and families come in all different shapes." David nodded. "Our neighbors back in Portland, the Johnsons, their son is gay. Lovely young man, just got married to his partner last year. They seem very happy together." Maya slid back into her seat, wondering if she'd entered some alternate dimension. Her conservative parents were discussing gay marriage with equanimity while her girlfriend sat across from them, and no one seemed to think anything of it. "Maya, you've been quiet," Linda observed. "Are you feeling all right? You look a little pale." "I'm fine," Maya said quickly. "Just tired. It's been a long day." But Linda was studying her daughter with the practiced eye of someone who'd raised her for 22 years. Maya could see the wheels turning in her mother's mind. "Alex," Linda said suddenly, "can you excuse us for a moment? I need to speak with Maya privately." Maya's heart stopped. "Mom, what?" "Ladies' room," Linda said firmly, already standing up. Maya followed her mother to the restroom on unsteady legs, her mind racing through possibilities. Had she given something away? Had Alex said something wrong? Had her mother somehow figured it out? In the privacy of the elegant restroom, Linda turned to face her daughter. For a long moment, they just looked at each other. "Maya," Linda said softly, "is there something you want to tell me?" The question hung in the air between them like a live wire. Maya opened her mouth, but no sound came out. "Because," Linda continued, her voice gentle but knowing, "I've been watching you and Alex all evening, and the way you look at each other, that's not how friends look at each other, sweetheart." Maya felt tears spring to her eyes. Her mother's expression wasn't angry or disappointed. It was understanding, maybe even relieved. "I don't know what you mean," Maya whispered. But even as she said it, she knew the lie was transparent. Linda stepped closer and took her daughter's hands. "Maya, I love you. Nothing will ever change that. But I think it's time we talked honestly about your life here in Seattle." And in that moment, Maya realized that her mother had known all along. Maya stared at her mother in the elegant restroom of the Metropolitan Grill, feeling as though the ground had shifted beneath her feet. Linda's hands were warm and steady as they held Maya's trembling ones. "You knew?" Maya whispered, her voice barely audible above the soft jazz music filtering in from the restaurant. Linda's eyes filled with tears. "I suspected. The way you talk about Alex, and you do talk about her, more than you probably realize. Every phone call, there's an Alex thinks this or Alex and I did that. And today, watching you two together." She paused, reaching up to touch Maya's cheek gently. "Honey, I've never seen you look at anyone the way you look at her." Maya felt tears spilling down her cheeks. "Are you angry?" "Angry?" Linda pulled Maya into a hug. "Oh, sweetheart, no. I'm not angry. I'm sad that you felt you couldn't tell us. I'm worried about what you've been going through, carrying this secret alone. But you and Dad, you're so traditional. I thought you'd be disappointed in me." Linda pulled back to look at Maya's face. "We raised you to be honest, compassionate, and true to yourself. How could we be disappointed in you for finding love?" "But what about Dad?" Maya asked, wiping at her eyes with a tissue from the dispenser. Your father is a good man, Maya. He might need some time to process, but he loves you more than anything in this world. We both do. They stood in comfortable silence for a moment, and Maya felt something she hadn't experienced in months, the possibility of being completely herself with her family. How long have you been living together? Linda asked gently. Maya took a shaky breath. 6 months. We've been together for 2 years, but we got the apartment together after Christmas. The apartment you said you live in alone. Yes, Maya admitted. Mom, I'm sorry I lied to you. I hated lying to you, but I was so scared of losing you, and Dad. You could never lose us, Linda said firmly. We might stumble. We might say the wrong thing sometimes, but we will never stop loving you. What do we do now? Maya asked. Linda smiled through her own tears. Now we go back to the table, and you trust that your parents want to know the real you. All of you. When they returned to the table, David looked up with concern. Everything all right? You both look like you've been crying. Maya glanced at her mother, who nodded encouragingly. Alex was watching them both with worried eyes. Dad, Maya began, her voice stronger than she'd expected. I need to tell you something important. She looked at Alex, who gave her the slightest nod of support, and then back at her father. Alex isn't just my friend. She's my girlfriend. We've been together for 2 years, and we live together. We're in love. The words hung in the air. David's expression didn't change immediately. He seemed to be processing, his engineer's mind working through this new information methodically. Alex reached across the table and took Maya's hand, intertwining their fingers. Mr. Chen, I love your daughter very much. I know this might be surprising, but I want you to know that Maya and I have built something beautiful together. David looked at their joined hands, then up at Maya's face. Maya held her breath, waiting for his reaction. Are you happy? He asked finally. What? Maya wasn't sure she'd heard correctly. Are you happy? Does she treat you well? Do you feel loved and supported? Maya felt fresh tears coming. Yes, Dad, so happy. Alex is... she's everything. To me. David turned to Alex. And you? Are you happy with my daughter? Incredibly happy, Alex replied without hesitation. Maya challenges me to be better every day. She's brilliant and passionate and kind, and I feel honored that she chose to share her life with me. David nodded slowly, then reached for his wine glass. Then I suppose we have even more to celebrate tonight. The relief that flooded through Maya was so intense it was almost physical. Really? You're okay with this? Maya, David said, his voice gentle. Your mother and I have spent 22 years wanting nothing more than your happiness and success. You graduated summa cum laude today. You have multiple job offers doing work that will make the world a better place, and you found someone who loves you and makes you happy. What more could parents ask for? Alex squeezed Maya's hand, and Maya could see that she was crying too. Though I do have some questions, David continued, and Maya tensed slightly. Like what? Maya asked. Like why you felt you couldn't trust us with this? What did we do that made you think we wouldn't accept you? Maya considered the question carefully. It wasn't anything you did specifically. It was just, I know you had certain expectations for my life. Marriage to a man, grandchildren, the traditional path. I was afraid of disappointing you. Linda leaned forward. Sweetheart, our expectations for you have always been simple. Be a good person, work hard, and find happiness. Everything else is just details. And as for grandchildren, David added with a slight smile, there are many ways to build a family. These days, Maya laughed through her tears. Dad, we're not anywhere near thinking about kids yet. I know. I'm just saying the door isn't closed. Alex grinned. I like your parents, Maya. I like them too, Maya said, feeling lighter than she had in months. So, Linda said, picking up her champagne glass, I think we need a new toast. To Maya's graduation, to new beginnings, and to honesty in all its forms. They raised their glasses together, and Maya felt something she hadn't experienced in years, the complete integration of all parts of her life. There is one more thing, David said, as they clinked glasses. Maya's stomach dropped slightly. What? We're going to need to see this apartment of yours. Your mother's been dying to know how you've decorated your first real home. Alex and Maya exchanged glances, then burst into laughter.